Hey guys, want to do a quick review. Let's face it, it's not going to be quick. We're going to do a review on this Marvel's Parang Machete. This thing is a beast. Now, I originally bought my first marbles a couple years back and bought that Fireman's Survival axe, which is not really an axe, it's really more of a machete than anything, and just fell in love with the thing. I've used that thing so many trips, so many times, lent it out to so many people. It's just done so much work. And the interesting thing is when I first bought it and did a review on it, people kind of said, that thing's junk, it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And then next thing you know, a couple of the other big channels did reviews on it and agreed with me. They said, holy cow, this thing is, despite the way it looks and the way it feels, it really is a good chopper. And it kind of grew in popularity, so I always kind of said I wanted to go back and get a few more Marbles products. And, it's the way things happen, I just never got around to doing it. So I was ordering from Marbles, or not Marbles, from Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and I saw this, and I'm like, it's only 15 bucks, why not get it? And I did hold off. I really liked this design, but I never ordered it, because when they originally released it, it didn't have a sheath, and now it has a sheath, so I ordered it. Let's do the numbers. I think I've bored you long enough. You're talking about a 20 overall inch length, a 13 and 3/4 inch cutting length. The blade width is just shy of 4 inches, 1075 high carbon steel with an orange paint on top, and the handle appears to be some kind of some kind of soft wood with brass pins. It only runs about 3/4 length, so it's not a genuine full tang. Okay, there's the numbers. We'll show you the sheath as well, just to get that out of the way. Whoop, machetes everywhere, guys. Very traditional marble sheath made of nylon, 2 pockets. One has a little sharpening stone in it. It's riveted and stitched. Velcro retention, which not my favorite. I'd rather have snaps. There's Velcro on the inside as well to help hold it in place. Nice big belt loop. This hangs really well on the belt, by the way. Alright, so back to it. So I got this thing a couple days ago, and I finally got a chance to go out and play with it today. I was in the garden, got done in the garden, and I thought, I'll go back and take a few swipes at some of the brush. Clearing brush on my property is just this never-ending thing. It seems like you could go out every week and clear it, and it's just going to come back. So I figured I'll go back, take a couple swipes. I fell in love with this thing. I absolutely fell in love with it. This thing clears through, thin brush like it's not even there. This thing is just dynamite. So I went out and then immediately kind of ran back in and said, hey, I need to do a comparison while I'm still out here. So I got my Patco lock and I took a few swipes with that. You know what? Not as good. But what do you expect? It's massively more thicker, and it's a convex edge, and, it just didn't have that performance. So I ran over to one of the maple trees on the property and sunk this in. And I sunk in the Patco lock, and this thing bit considerably deeper than the Condor Gold Lock. Surprisingly, I did not expect that. I expected the thicker Gold Lock to really shine there, and it actually didn't. Very surprised, very surprised. So, took a few more swipes at the hardwood, went, cleared a little more brush, found some small saplings that were maybe like an inch, inch and a half. This thing just sliced right through them on the first slice like they're nothing. Just dynamite. So I cleared a bunch of brush, gave a couple whacks on hardwood, on maple and stuff like that, just to see how it reacted. This thing bites deep, it slices nice. Why is that? Well, let's take a look at this thing. Number one, it's got a really good forward balance to it. When you're holding it, it really does just feel like it wants to slice and chop. And I think it's a very thin blade. It's actually very reminiscent of a Latin machete. It's very thin. It's got a little wiggle wobble to it, which I thought wouldn't make it good for, smashing into a tree, but this thing did it. Absolutely no problems. I'm really not surprised why We All Juggle Knives gave this thing such a good review. This thing really is just a great hack and slash machete for the price range, 15 bucks. You can see, aside from a few scuffs, the paint held up really well. It didn't flake off anywhere. It didn't seem to peel off. Now, granted, everything I worked with today was green, so usually you don't get as much damage to the finish, but it is a very thick orange paint. And it looks like there might even be a little lacquer on top of that as well. Has these 3 fullers here, which help give the little more rigidity to the handle, so I think that helps your flex there. As I told you before, it is a 3/4 tang, riveted in with 3 brass pins, and then it has a lanyard hold. I don't like that the lanyard is not part of the knife, so if you were to lose your handle, you know, that lanyard is not going to do you any good. So, like I said, great performance. I've never been so happy with a $15 knife out of the box. Just didn't touch it, nothing. And like I said, a lot of that I think goes to the grind. This thing, if you were a knife, you would call this a Scandi grind. There is one single bevel, and that bevel is straight. It's not convexed at all. There's no secondary bevel on it. So if you were to actually, you know, consider this, if this were a knife, you'd probably call this a Scandi grind, which I think explains a lot of why this thing bites so deep, is that edge. It's very thin, and it's got that really shallow edge to it. This thing, it really bites deep. And it's good carbon steel. I tested it out with a ferro rod. I scraped a little bit of the paint off here on the inside to see if it would strike a ferro rod, and it does. Absolutely no problem. But like I said, you're going to have to scrape a little bit of that paint off to get it done. But there you go, guys. That's it. You know, 15 bucks. $15, and this thing performs even better than my $50 Pat Golok. It performs better than my $20, $25 cold steel. It's performed better than the Ontario Machetes I've used. Definitely performs better than the Gerbers. Even the, you know, the SOG ones I've tried out. This thing, for the price, for the weight, this thing is an absolute dynamo. I mean, it's just astounding. Now, the handle's not perfect. There's a little bit of wiggle in that handle, and the handle's really uncomfortable. It's definitely going to need to be sanded down and smoothed out before we do any serious work with this. So, not to say this thing is perfect. It's not. But with a little bit of work, if you're willing to reshape that handle a little bit, and you know, maybe even strip the thing down and take that paint off, I mean, you can do quite a bit with this thing. It's really handy. I can't wait. I literally cannot wait to do some batoning with it. I think this thing will baton. Now, I'm not going to baton into anything too crazy because it is a thin steel, so I don't want to have to worry about it bending or anything like that. But I think for small diameter, you know, 2-3 inches, I think this thing will baton rather nicely because it has that flat top. I'm not going to go overboard and try and baton anything huge, but I do think this is capable. I can't wait to try it out. I think the shape also lends to being used as a draw knife. So if you're using this as kind of a bushcraft tool, I think this thing can really, you can do a lot with it. I think you can, you know, because it does have the thicker blade, you can grab it in a way where, and use it as a draw knife very safely. There's a lot of meat to grab a hold of, and to still keep your hands away from that edge, which I think is really cool. And the handle's out of the way as well, so if you decide to use this maybe to scrape bark off a tree or to make fine shavings, you know, I think this thing's going to be fantastic at it, especially if you're looking to make, you know, a fire and you need to get some shavings and all that. I think this is going to be just an awesome bushcraft tool for those people who want more than a small knife. And at that price range, you can't go wrong. Now, guys, if I were starting over and I had to have one machete that was like inexpensive, this is it. I mean, it outperforms my Condors, it outperforms my cold steels, and you know, it's probably just sheer luck on the fact that Marbles has such a good design here. But I'm really surprised there's not more of this on YouTube. There's not more on the internet. It's really fantastic, and you know, and it's definitely, I would tell you, $15 you won't be disappointed. You know, at that price point, you know, even if you don't like that handle and you got to do some work on the handle, you know, you're still ahead. This thing is just fantastic. I can't say enough good stuff. I think the few minor problems with the handle and all that, it definitely outshines that. The only thing I would do, I would make this, if this were me, I would make this a tiny bit, just a hair thicker, and maybe I might take an inch or two off the length, make it probably like an even 12-inch cutting edge or something like that. Or maybe make the handle a tiny bit shorter just to make it a little more packable. But yeah, this thing definitely worth the money, and I cannot wait to put this through some more testing, and hopefully I'll get a video of this in action. I'm really thinking about doing since this Pet Glock did not live up to the hype, I definitely think I want to do a head-to-head comparison on the two of them and just kind of show you that, sometimes the $15 machete wins.